Yes.
Do you want me to pause it until we get going? Probably should.
Yeah.
Hello.
Just remind me.
If you would pause the recording just so. Is everybody ready?
I don't think I have any Wi-Fi. Which Wi-Fi is it?
The public one. The private one for me wasn't connecting. But it was on this laptop, so I don't know.
So there's glasses instead of screen. Let's hope I don't get hacked.
You're not connected to the internet.
If my stomach fails, I apologize, I didn't have time.
There's extra iPads too if you prefer. I can bring the packet up if you want. It's really just a minute, so.
Convince my wife to buy herself a new laptop.
Yeah, all of mine are figured out.
Okay, are we ready? Okay, how about we call the meeting to order? Tonight, for the agenda, we have comments from citizens regarding items not on the agenda. We'll look at the meeting minutes from our last meeting. We have a request for reconsideration for permit 2603 10 Knight by Randolph and Grace Knight. There's some sequencing that we think we have an order to that sequencing we might want to consider. If anybody wants to change any of that order, we can consider it. We have rules of procedure that we can look at and talk about. Ryan could give us an update on his office and maybe also what's going on at the town. We have lots changing, right? And we can talk about items for future agenda, anything we don't get to tonight if we don't have time to, and then we'll adjourn. So does anybody have any comments about that order?
I just have one on 5C, the approve or deny request to reconsider decision.
Yeah,
That's not a agenda item that you can place because that's up to the board members to choose to whether to do a motion or not. So it can't be required as an agenda item.
would you change the language to say entertain request to consider decision? Is
Well,
that what you
item
mean?
B covers a discussion and consideration of the request. That is the item. Because if somebody makes a motion, whether to approve, because it has to be an affirmative, so if somebody makes a motion, then that is item C. But if
Okay,
the board decides to do nothing or decides something else, you wouldn't be able to do item C, since we haven't actually discussed it yet.
all right. So
Do you know what I mean?
I do. I think we were, when we were contemplating just the process that we might want to go through, it was just helpful to outline what would come first and then last. And so I don't think it's not intended to hijack what the board has to do, just the order that events might happen in, but that makes sense to me, Andrea.
Because if it's an agenda item, we have to do that item.
Okay. Anything else? Any other comments about the agenda?
Did you want to make a motion to amend the agenda?
Oh, yes, I move to amend and delete item 5C from the agenda.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Did you?
Whatever.
Okay. Whatever.
Seems
we-
silly.
Go ahead and vote.
I don't, I'll just say aye.
Okay.
I don't see why, if it's on the agenda, we have to vote on it. We commonly have stuff on the agenda we never get to and don't do anything about, so, but if she wants to do that, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, approval of meeting minutes for July 14th.
Oh, actually, you skipped comments from citizens.
No? I didn't? I started off with that.
Oh, I have a comment.
Oh,
I thought you were on agenda review. I'm sorry, my apologies, Tom.
yeah. You're right.
Oh,
You're right. I thought you said I didn't say that.
no, I
okay. You're-
thought you were
You're right, I'm thinking.
going to the
I'm going
approval of
to-
the meeting
I'm
minutes
going to
without
pardon.
doing item 3.
Okay, so Grace is right. Let's please go back to comments from citizens regarding items not on the agenda. Sorry.
May I give a comment?
Please.
Oh, thank you. I would like to say I love being on this board, and I hope that the select board reappoints me when my term is up in March of 27, and I truly value all of you. I would like to make a motion and have it entertained that we invite a member of the Regional Planning Commission to spend some time talking about the broad overview of development review boards and their responsibilities with subdivisions, because we took this on at the Select Board's request 2 years ago in August of 2024. All of us care deeply about our town, but I don't think any of us actually has formal background in town planning. I know that I don't. And I think we've heard 5 cases in the 2 years, but I don't think we're experienced at this. So I would like to make a motion that Ryan Gumbart, our zoning administrator, formally invite a representative of the Mount Ascutney Regional Planning Commission at the earliest available time to do an in-service at one of our Tuesday meetings to kind of get us up to speed on our responsibilities.
Okay, a training session for.
A training session for Development Review Board members on subdivision regulation led by the Mount Ascutney Regional Planning Commission.
I'll second that.
Okay, and then can we add to that we'll add that to the items for future agenda?
Yes,
So we'll just,
if we approve it.
yeah,
I mean, it's been moved and seconded.
okay. Any other comments?
I think it's a great idea.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and so we'll, as I'm taking notes for discussion of items for future agendas, I'll put that on there.
And is it okay if Ryan reaches out and tries to schedule for this, I think it's the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays, right?
Yes.
And see if a member of the planning commission is free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when we come back to this, I'll give you more of an update.
Okay,
Thank you for your support.
yeah, any other comments from citizens for things that aren't on the agenda? Okay, hearing none. Okay, now I think we can go on to the approval of meeting minutes for July 14th.
I'll move that we approve them.
I'll second.
I just have, I think I only have two notes. At the bottom of the second page, Ryan,
I just used the link to the agenda.
in the second to last sentence, the paragraph starts off saying Mr. Gumbart said the DRB must go through the variance criteria and then there's a sentence, second to last, that says an unnecessary hardship has not been created by the applicant. I think I want to just clarify what we mean by that sentence. I think, are you saying that that's like the variance criteria verify whether or not?
Well, so I didn't write these minutes. These are from the minute taker, Darby. I agree that probably shouldn't be in the minutes because it sounds like it's a specific finding, but I haven't read it in context, so. No.
Okay, then I think I want to clear it up because I don't want that in there, like it is. So the sentence before that says, the physical condition of the sites are the reason the applicant is unable to meet the regulations and needs a variance to enable the reasonable use of the property. And I just, that part just doesn't make sense to me. So staff believes the variance will not substantially impact the neighborhood or be detrimental to such. Was that by staff? Do they mean you came to that conclusion?
Seems to say that. Are you suggesting that we strike those two sentences?
Well, I'm leaning on everybody to weigh in here.
I think
I
that
don't know
makes
what
sense.
to do
To me,
with
it
that.
sounds like those sound like
They're
findings that go in the
conclusions.
decision. Yeah, I think that
Okay.
makes sense to strike those.
Okay, so I'm going to suggest that we strike those two sentences that are statements. The first sentence starts with the physical condition, and the second sentence starts with an unnecessary hardship. And then, I guess continuing on to the next page. 2, and the third sentence. Third sentence says, placing the tiny home further away from the road would put it in a steep slope. I think I just want to put a comma after road, and add that than currently proposed, so it would read, placing the tiny home further away from the road than currently proposed would put it on a steep slope. Just add those 3 words with a comma. Those are my suggested amendments. Does anybody else have any others? Do we want to make a motion to adopt them as amended? Anybody?
I'll move to adopt them as amended.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay. So item 5 is request for reconsideration of permit 260310 Knight, Randolph and Grace Knight. we could consider having an executive session for attorney-client communications. 1 VSA 313A1F, legal advice regarding a condition of a previously issued subdivision decision and potential reconsideration. Is there anyone that would make a motion to have us go into executive session to hear the attorney-client communication?
What, from which attorney?
Well, the reason we'd want to go into executive session would be there's pending or probable civil litigation to which we may be a party, and there's attorney-client communications made for the purpose of providing professional legal services to the body. Those are both things that
Services to whom?
services to the body being
The board,
The board.
The board.
the town.
Okay.
Yeah. So do we want to, we have correspondence from the applicant's attorney that says they may appeal the decision. We have, Ryan has reached out to the attorney and gotten legal advice, and so
Okay, yes, I'll make it, that's what I was trying to clarify. I wanted to find out if we get advice from our attorney.
this is advice from the town's attorney to.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we go into executive session. Or do I need to read off
I think it should be for, I think you really have to.
read off the,
It should be for the
2-6?
two reasons, no, this right here. For
Okay.
those reasons.
Okay, make a motion to go into executive session. For pending or probable civil litigation or prosecution to which the public body is or may be a party, and for confidential attorney-client communications made for the purpose of providing professional legal services to the body.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
I have a question, if there's
Go ahead.
discussion. The reason that we're going into review, was that included? Since we all received that letter, does that go into the public record?
Because we got, what letter,
That we all received?
I haven't gotten the legal counsel yet.
No, I'm talking about the letter that kicked it all off, that we all received. Does that have to be? put in the
I have no idea. When we did get from Ryan, we got a notice that said, here's the correspondence I got from the applicant's attorney.
Right.
And then I wrote back and said, we need advice of legal counsel.
Well, that's the letter. I mean, should that be in the record or?
That's a good question. I don't know why it would, but
I think it might depend on what the board decides to do with the request to reconsider. Probably at that time, that would become an exhibit
Okay.
of if the hearing were reopened.
Gotcha. I just wanted to ask.
any other discussion about it? I mean, we haven't done it before,
Right, that's
so
why I'm asking.
I'm doing the best I can. So all those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain and I will
Abstain.
not be part of the executive session because I'm recused from this.
Okay.
All right,
Did everybody vote?
Mhm.
Okay. So we could go into executive session. Is there a spot upstairs where we could do it?
Yeah, I think we'll leave the recording running, people online, and then we can go upstairs.
go to you.
thing we say is being recorded. And we have 3 members of the public.
Feel the table.
Okay, thank you for your patience. Oh, goodness. We, so we have ended the executive session. It is over. And no action is taken for the, because we're going to do all that in public meeting. So the next item on the agenda is the discussion and consideration of requests for reconsideration. So I would sort of like at this point like to give the floor to the applicant, to Randy and Grace, to tell us what your concerns are, what you want us to consider, and describe it to us so that we know what you want, what the problem is, what you want, and
Can I interject with a technical Zoom thing real quick?
please.
When I got down here, there was a request to join. There's a waiting room situation. And so August Murray was trying to enter. I clicked admit and he's no longer there. So I just wanted to state for the record that he might have had a problem getting in while we were in executive session, and I don't know if he just stopped. But
Do we want to text him and invite him back now that we're done? Andrew, do you think we should?
Can, but
Why not? I mean, because he might not want to sit around and wait for us to talk in quiet, but he might want to
yeah,
participate.
mainly I didn't want the perception that like it wasn't open or something.
Okay.
Because of that. Oh, hang on.
Is there a chat?
There it is again. Admit. Okay.
Oh, he's there. You know, the other thing the other thing we could probably do is like, we have 3 people here. I assume they can all hear us.
I hope so.
Yeah, okay. All right. So
Yes, we got thumbs up.
at this time, I'd be interested in hearing what the applicant's thoughts are. And what
So,
I don't put words in your mouth. Go ahead, I'm ready.
And I don't want to put words in all of your mouths because I was not part of this deliberative session, and I'm sure that your sincere intention was to help us as we went through the process. But the bottom line is, a subdivision of land should end up with the land being subjected to the ordinary zoning bylaws of the town of Weathersfield. And if you take Lot 2 and say the bylaws do not apply to this newly created Lot 2, you have to go back to the DRB to do anything whatsoever. Build a sugar house, build a single family home, any permitted use or agricultural use or anything else. It completely undermines the role of the zoning administrator, and it violates the zoning bylaws of the town of Weathersfield. And there's something, and I'm no expert, I have no background in town planning, but I feel that a terrible burden has been placed upon us. All we wanted was clear title to 2 lots of land. And I feel that many people who apply for a subdivision have no intention of developing. They could have an agricultural use in mind or a recreational use in mind. They could need to expand their septic and request to buy a few acres from an abutting neighbor. They could have nothing whatsoever in mind. Many, many lots that are legal lots under town zoning that are 3 to 5 acre lots or 10 acre lots, someone wants to create it with the goal of holding title to that land. And title is a precious thing. And it's been said in public meetings of the DBR that the only reason to divide or subdivide is to develop, and that is incorrect. And even if someone should have a thought of developing, if you have a legal 3-acre lot or a legal 10-acre lot, you may have no intention of siting a home or a structure at this time. You may leave that to the future when you go to your building permit. And on most 3 or 10-acre lots, there are numerous home sites. Do you want to be further back from the road for privacy? Do you want to be closer to the road for lower cost of running in utilities? Where will it be least expensive to site your septic? There can be multiple proposed building sites. Of the 5 applications that we've heard in 2 years, there have been 2 applications where we've asked people to remove a building envelope or a proposed structure or improvement that was placed on a survey years ago and then never built. So we've asked people to remove something that was already cited on their survey map. And then other applicants, we've asked them to plan way into the future and imagine what they or a future owner might be doing 10 years or 20 years or 100 years from now. And there are lots of land where, hey, maybe you would put a sugar house on it. Maybe you would put a home on it. But I feel it's a huge burden to ask people to imagine a future use. It's also very, very expensive. It's expensive to keep going back to the surveyor.
Can I speak?
Of course.
I think, speaking for myself, it has nothing to do with you and Randy, first of all. We're trying to figure out a way to, an example would be someone came in and divided up 100 acres into 10-acre lots and said, I'm not going to develop it. And then a year later, they come back and they just fill it full of houses and put driveways where they shouldn't. So help us, can you help us try to solve that friction?
Yeah.
How do we thread that needle? Because I feel that your intentions are true. But how do we, we're trying to look at the future here, I am, how do we stop people from taking advantage of the DRB?
Well, not by torpedoing the zoning bylaw. I mean, if someone in the future wants to put a sugar house or a single-family home on Lot 2, they should go to the zoning administrator and get a building permit. And I feel that we as a board have, and, you know, I've sat by passively or maybe even actively in this, so I'm not saying that I haven't been part of it. We've conflated subdividing with a building permit or a change of use. And I think all of us here truly wanted it to be easy for people who just wanted to break off a piece of land for a straightforward purpose. And it became, you know, we finished our application, I think, on March 9th, and we're still trying to get it done. And the cost is a lot more because we've had to keep going back to the surveyor. And we want the freedom on Lot 2 to follow the zoning bylaw. So I just say split it apart. Don't try to
I'd be interested in specific wording.
I think that's the,
But what I'm asking is that you just drop the things that Ethan McNaughton put it as well as I possibly, much better than I or Randy ever could.
Jump in to answer, let me answer Beth's question about the 20 lot subdivision. So the state law already mandates that if you have a certain number of properties that you're dividing within 5 years, I think it is, Ryan, you can tell me, then you automatically go into a planned residence type of,
Planned unit development.
yep, or the planned residential development, if you cross those thresholds. But it's either 5 or 10 subdivisions. So 1 through 5 is still allowed under the law, and it was changed in order to allow for future development. But very specifically, the subdivision, it does not say that an applicant is required to place these development on there. It says if the, hang on, two-stage process, sketch plan and primary and final plat, preliminary review may be required. The subdivision approval required to commence any land clearing, to issue a permit for land development involving land to be subdivided, or any conveyance granting right-of-way sales. Lease is made of any subdivided lot, and filing a subdivision plat with the town clerk. So subdivision approval is required for those 4 items. It does not say that specifically you need to create a building envelope. It says if you have a building envelope, these are the things you need to do. And that's a really important distinction, because we cannot have separate policies and regulations for a single-family home or up to a 4-family home, because now the law says if you can have in the same envelope, you can have up to a 4-family home. Anywhere that a single home is allowed, you're allowed a multi-home development. So we can't limit that either.
And
So-
may I say something? I think we are going by table 2.1. But once you've gone through table 2.1, you've really almost done an Act 250 application. It's just enormous for people who are trying to split off a building lot. All we want is title to our land. Title is important. And to ask the person who's just asking, I want title, marketable title to this piece of land, to plan for every future conceivable use of it, I feel is violating our own town zoning bylaws and is asking the impossible of the applicant.
Do you have any wording for a waiver?
I have and this is why I desperately want the Matascutney Regional Commission in here. Every planning commission that ever did this had a wording, they just waived it all. And I've sat here time after time where people have looked at surveys that planning commissions have always approved to split off 10 acres with adequate road frontage. And the planning commissions have just waived all of table 2.1. My suggested waiver is we waive it. And I'm deeply serious about that.
It actually says that in our subdivision regulations that we can waive those added criteria if it's not relevant.
And every single planning commission, when the planning commission had this responsibility up until August of 2024, waived it all.
And
If it was a straightforward subdivision, not, if we had come to you saying we have 200 acres and we're dividing it into 20 building lots, then fine, but we have 200 acres and we want separate marketable title. And we have the road frontage, and we have actually met every single requirement of Table 2.1, which is almost like an Act 250 permit.
So I wanted to add a couple of things separately as a member of the board. My personal issue with this this decision. First, I did, during deliberation, I did request that this wording be amended to match the Environmental Protection Agency's wording that simply stated on the deed that this subdivision was not reviewed for potable water or for areas that can be developed, and also for whether or not a septic sign can be placed, and that the buyer accepts that property at their own risk.
Absolutely.
And that is the standard that the state provides. We should not have a standard where specifically this application states that any development from now until perpetuity, any development and all development has to go through the DRB to be reviewed, which is an unreasonable burden on any landowner. And there's no requirement for those things in our land regulations. It doesn't specifically request that.
Can you reread that statement, please?
Which,
What the environmental,
right, I emailed that to everyone during the deliberation. I emailed their policy.
I know,
the
I would
quoted
like you to
statement
read it during the hearing,
Let me see.
or whatever this is.
Yeah.
A meeting?
Sure.
And was it, with this proposed language, is it your thought that we would, with this language, only include water, wastewater? Or is it, or what you're saying, that we would waive and then specifically list the items that we didn't review? Like in that case,
No,
they
just
say.
leave it.
Well, the
Well,
reality is that
I was asking Andrea, because it's.
yeah, we shouldn't be reviewing things that, if it's a minor subdivision, which is what this is, and our land use regulations has not designated what a major and a minor subdivision is, wherein the problem lies. They're presuming that everything is a planned use, and that's an unreasonable burden also. But with the minor subdivisions, that can easily be done by our land use administrator, which is also what would be a single-family home development. So we can't have two standards for someone to develop a single-family home. When you develop a single-family home, the land use administrator is going to check road access. They're going to check if there's if that section of property is usable where it's at. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, they can't put a piece of land anywhere, and if you deny it, then it goes to the DRB so that we can review your denial. That's
Yeah.
if the request that they're making is unreasonable. Our duty as the DRB in a subdivision is to make sure that the subdivision meets our town plan as a reasonable use. It is large enough in order to meet our, to be able to be used as reasonable property. We have the road access, you have the setbacks, you can't have a 10 by 20 square of land and then just sell it as little notebooks, because then somebody can say they own a Vermont, which would be a kind of an interesting concept, but but no, we can't do that because we have a minimum lot size. So that's what we're reviewing. We're reviewing minimum lot sizes. If they wanted to use it for hunting forever, we don't need to place the burden on them, or a family plot that they just want because it's a 10-generation family and they want to have that connection because now 11 and 12 generation are there and that needs to be divided. So but the most important thing is our standards have to be the same. We cannot have separate standards to build a home. If we do, then we are obligated to err on the side of the applicant, always. We can't make more difficult requirements because the two requirements don't match. We have to err towards the applicant, which right now is that it doesn't require additional wording. I agreed with the environmental wording to just say buyer beware. because that is a reasonable statement.
I will ask again, can you
Yes.
reread that,
Yeah,
please?
I'm going to look it up in just a
And
moment. but
when you read it, I'm interested in understanding if you propose this language, instead of the water and wastewater items that other people regulate, what in that waiver of development rights, they say that no development shall be allowed on this parcel that doesn't come back to us for a permit.
Huh?
Well, we're
The
not,
waiver of development rights that the state provides for the water and wastewater department at the time of subdivision says no development, I'm paraphrasing, shall occur until
you go to the
you come
state
back and look
for-
at,
Until
all-
you go to the state,
till you
right?
come back and look at, till you come back and look at all of their criteria and you meet all of their criteria. So what I was asking Andrea is, in our case, I understand she doesn't like the subdivision regulations, she wants them to be simpler. I don't disagree, these are the regulations we have. So when we change this language to the language that she likes the state provides, what sections of the 300s in the subdivision would she like us to come back and re-examine later? And I'll give you this, I'll give you this.
That's not our responsibility to re-examine.
It is
the
not our
subdivisions. That would be
responsibility.
the planning
May I
commission.
say
Please,
two
I'm sorry.
things? I want to say two things. You're asking Andrea to propose language that is outside the scope of the Development Review Board. It is simply outside our scope.
I'm just asking for her to read the language. I just want to hear what she had to say, and I will ask again. I want to hear it read in the meeting, so everybody hears it.
This is from State of Vermont Agency of Natural Resources, Department of Environmental Conservation, Drinking Water, and Groundwater Protection Division. And the discussion was if you are subdividing bare land, that it was recommended, let's see here, based on new separate land not having a building envelope identified on the new plat. Page 21 and 22 of the policy, and a summary from them is included also, which was included on the email. So the wording that they recommended, notice of permit requirements. In order to comply with applicable state rules concerning potable water supplies and wastewater system, a person shall not construct or erect any structure or building on the lot of land described in this deed if the use or useful occupancy of that structure or building will require the installation and connection of potable water supply and wastewater system without first complying with the applicable rules and obtaining any required permits. Any person who owns this property acknowledges that this lot may not be able to meet state standards for potable water supply or wastewater system, and therefore this lot may not be able to be improved. And that's their recommended language.
But it has nothing to do with going back to the DRB.
Well,
It has
if we're-
to do
if we're
with getting a
cons-
permit.
If we're considering that, we're talking about the subdivision bylaws. The subdivision bylaws have specific things that they task the Development Review Board with reviewing.
And you
In your
can
case,
waive it.
in your case, we would get to certain things that you did present, and so we go through the checklist and we say, provided.
But I'm sorry, I'm honestly not understanding you, Todd. If you have a legal lot 2 and you want a permitted use of lot 2, and the classic example of a permitted use would be a single-family home, the Development Review Board has no role in that under the town bylaw. For a permitted use, you go to the zoning administrator of the town and you apply for a permit.
So
And what I would like to say is that when Randy and I received your decision, I called Ethan McNaughton. He apologizes for not being here this evening. He actually had another hearing that he had to attend. And he told me that he very rarely takes cases that have to do with the town of Weathersfield, but he felt so strongly about this particular thing that he wished to take this.
So how?
And I'm sorry, it has been such a painful process. There is something in our town subdivision regulations that Randy and I followed that has never come up in any of these long meetings. And it is our town subdivision regulations recommend that anyone doing a subdivision talk to their neighbors. Now, in this entire process, I believe that you have heard no voice from any abutting neighbor. However, Randy and I have heard their voices very clearly because they are our neighbors and they talk to us. And I'm assuming that not only did we talk to every neighbor, well, not everyone, there's one who just bought his place almost every neighbor, but I'm assuming that they got the required notices mailed out by Ryan Gumber. 2 of them, all of them said, good luck, hope your place sells, hope it sells quick, hope our new neighbors are as good as you. 2 of them said, can we buy a piece of your land? 2 of our abutting neighbors. And one of them, it was a parcel with no building envelope that was a legal parcel. And we said, of course. And there is no intent to develop it. He wanted it, this abutter wanted it to protect his privacy. It was approved by a planning commission in 2015. There is no building envelope on it. There never needs to be a building envelope on it. It was simply approved by the planning commission, no, in I think 2007, and we sold it because it's a separate deeded lot. The other neighbor approached us and said that he would like to buy 4 or 5 acres to round out his parcel and to own the place where he always put his deer stand. He has no intention to develop. He wants to round out his parcel and own the spot where for 30 years he's placed his deer stand. And it seems awful that I had to say no, but I said this has been so long and expensive and painful that I just can't launch into it again, and I'm sorry, but no.
And I'll reiterate that that is an unreasonable burden on any landowner and applicant to require
A building envelope.
a more restrictive development process than a standard single-family home or what have you. It should certainly be for whatever the person suggests it for. So it's been mentioned that, well, they're just going to slip through the cracks, or it's a loophole that they're going to sneak through, but that's not the purpose of development right now. We are desperately in need of development, and subdividing 2 properties, if somebody wants to build a single-family home, it's supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be a streamlined process that's not expensive. That is the whole purpose of allowing for development. If we're talking about a large subdivision with 10, 12, 15 homes, yes, they need to go through a detailed process, but this is not a reasonable expectation. But I'll go to a second subject, which we haven't, unless somebody wants to add, because Todd had asked me to not discuss it in executive session, but there's an actual open meeting law violation that happened during deliberation that needs to be addressed that directly affects this application. So, but I want to wait until the comments are done before I touch on the second issue.
If I could make a Randolph, is this okay? Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Please.
Very simply, I thought the renaming of this entity 2 years ago is an interesting use of language, development review board, as opposed to zoning board of appeal. And when you think about that, appeal is something's been decided and you take it to the next step because there's disagreement. Kind of what we're going through now. Development review puts it right in front. We are going to review development. And my concern is that given your bylaws, given state laws to flag complex major developments, and the greater need to preserve that which is good in Vermont, clean water, clean air, public access, and a thriving economy, including natural resources. It's a tough balancing act. I appreciate your time spending this and debating this very important issue. So many of our citizens are struggling, and I feel like I'm looking at two names on this TV screen, the Whittemore family. And, we are trying to secure a legacy for future generations. And this, the balance of some big bad developer is going to ruin it versus the need for families to conserve their land, their title, and their hope for their future needs to be front and center of these technical points. The law is the law, but we all know that application of the law, such as a waiver, where permitted, would be much more in the interest of people who actually already live here than the theoretical outsider. So that would be my appeal. Thank you.
Can I make a suggestion? For
You definitely can. I was hoping that I know people are passionate, and I am too, and I appreciate everybody doing their best to keep their temper. What would be helpful, and this is why we asked if you had any specific recommendations. Ryan, in a few minutes, Ryan can tell us what steps we could consider in terms of tonight, what to do next. So if you start thinking about that, and then I just want to finish my thought on the intent of what we're trying to wrap our minds around tonight. That is, there in the state's language of a waiver, it's specifically called a waiver of development rights. It means you are waiving your right to develop with those specific permits. And in lieu of that waiver, this condition says all those things that you asked that obviously we should not be looking at now because of what you've intended to use your property for. We will effectively defer all of those. Like a good example would be one of the Section 300s that has to do with road development. Okay, we are going to set that aside, and we will review that later when it's appropriate, when you decide that development is something that you want to do. So I say the decision takes the track of just saying you can have your subdivision just like it is, just as you've proposed, and when you want to look at changing it and looking at those criteria that we deferred, you would come back and look at just those criteria that were deferred.
I feel that you are repeating over and over and over and extending the meeting, and I am trying to be respectful. We have a request, and the request was that those who voted on this decision drop paragraph CL5 and drop C2. That is the request.
And then that leads me into my...
And that is, I think that request was very clearly stated by Ethan McNaughton. That is the request. Drop paragraph CL5 and drop conclusion 2.
Condition 2.
Whatever.
C2 is
C2.
comply with all state of Vermont permitting requirements.
Okay.
No, it says, any further development on Lot 2 requires review by the Development Review
Okay.
Board.
All right.
C2.
C2, okay.
That's it. That was the
So I'll add into
request.
that, you were saying who voted on this. So I received this draft document by email, which is a common deliberative process for us. And we all review it, looking for changes or amendment requests or further final discussions. That came in, I believe, 2 days prior to, maybe 3 days prior to the 45-day limitation. I had requested these changes. It was not, other board members had disagreed. However, there were some changes made to this document. And then our chair did request for votes on the day prior to say the voting would end on 6 p.m., I believe it was, the day prior to having to, so it was 6 p.m. on the 5th. And at that time, there was only one vote submitted, and only one vote came by email, and that was by Jacob Chase. No other board member voted on to approve this decision packet. So I stated again, I stated it then, that my name is listed as not being the only one that didn't respond, that it was a majority, but that is incorrect because there was only one response, with a second board member responding the morning of the 6th, but that was already past the deadline our chair provided. So based on that, we did not have a unanimous vote or a majority vote in order to approve this document. It was not intentional. It was because it was delayed until we didn't finalize the decision until the last possible moment. So there wasn't an opportunity to make further discussion. That doesn't allow this to move forward without a unanimous or a majority vote. And that is a deep concern of mine because it violates open meeting laws. It violates our applicants' rights. It violated my rights to be considered on this instead of it saying one member did not vote, so my name was just removed from the decision packet, which was an unfair statement because I was very clear in my dissent of this discussion. It wasn't that I didn't vote, I was very clear that I didn't agree with this, but no other members voted for it, and that's a significant concern of mine that we can discuss as far as future procedures, but I think that is a significant issue with this very application.
Did you want me to talk through that, or did you just want to sit with that?
Absolutely.
So we had scheduled a deliberative session, and you didn't come.
Right.
Okay, that presents a challenge to this process. That really gums up the work. So I think I would start with saying that when people don't come to meetings and when people don't come to the deliberative sessions, they should extend to the people who do show up the courtesy of imagining that we're all trying to act in the best interest of this community and of the board. In the case that you didn't show up, I'm just telling you, this is my
That was a
turn.
hostile statement, so if you could keep it civil and polite, because at no point did I insinuate that anybody had a negative intent or...
I was just asking that anybody who doesn't come presume that we're acting in the best interest.
Of
That's what
course.
I asked. Because I think we very much try to. During the deliberative session, we had the 3 members who did show up, all voted for to grant the subdivision approval, right? And we had not, because we try and keep deliberative sessions to a reasonable amount of time, we did not hash out every single word of the decision. I perhaps am learning a lesson now, and that is that our deliberative sessions should be a day or two where we sit down and we refine every word so that this doesn't happen again. we obviously need that time because these written things take Ryan many, many hours. They take me many, many hours to do. And then as a courtesy to make sure that we included you, Andrea, and that we included Jacob, we said, okay, you missed that. Here's the draft. Get us your comments. And typically I try and say within 48 hours, try and get them back to me. And the process unfolded that Jacob was able to. He provided his thoughts and he did vote. The other board members had already voted and had already provided updates on thoughts throughout this process. And then your comments were non-specific in that they didn't, I said, provide me the specific language that you want me to use, and you gave me, you provided some state language that has nothing to do with our bylaws, and I didn't know what to do with it, and we were out of time.
Okay.
So I ran out of time.
Correct.
we cannot continue deliberations. Ryan only works certain days. We were at the 11th hour. I also have a life. I have a job. I can't, and I had to beg. I begged over and over for specific language and a vote. And so the interactions did not facilitate decision. I was happy for you to vote yay or nay. And that's not how it unfolded.
May I say honestly, Todd, I feel that you may not be exhibiting thoughtful understanding. We're not asking for more language, we're asking for less. We're asking that the extraordinary conditions placed in this application, that 2 of them be removed.
And
That's it. We're not asking for more language.
Trace, I feel like we've got that part. We've moved on from that to the part where Andrea is saying we violated open meeting laws and she doesn't like the way the process for this unfolded. And I was trying to answer her questions about how it unfolded that way. And so those were my comments about that.
And quite a few times, and very often I will say, when we did deliberation, we had a rough draft of our decision so that we could correct and finish the documents. That was done many times, and that keeps it very clear. In your deliberation, that was a discussion. You later, as you said, brought the actual draft document for everyone to review, and as you specifically stated, and everyone to vote on and agree to. You can't agree to a concept, you have to agree to a document. So when that document was provided, you said I needed to give specific language. I gave that several times, and I also asked for specific language that was used in the document, in the decision. Where is that language that allows the DRB to make specifically those requirements? And that was not responded to either. It's because we decided to. And that wasn't good enough. I asked several times for the bylaws, the subdivision bylaws that allowed the DRB to go beyond the standards required for a subdivision or in our zoning policy.
So what would you like to do? What would you like to do with this? Would you like to? What's your proposal for this application and this process? Do you want to have Ryan reach out to the attorney and ask for more advice?
I guess the fact is that based on open meeting law, this decision is invalid. Nobody voted on it. I have one email from someone that voted during that time period. You didn't even send an email stating that you agreed to the affirmative. You can't vote on something at a deliberation when there's no document there. Like you said, it was a discussion. When we received the document, that's when we vote if this is what was discussed and this is what was agreed.
So what do you want us to do? Are you volunteering to write the drafts?
May I?
Ahead of time so that we have them?
I think we all should take a shot at it. I think that's part of what we should be doing as a DRB too.
So the only way we can improve things is if people put in more effort. And I am putting in all that I can, and it doesn't seem like it's good enough.
Not enough.
So do
Well,
more.
Todd, actually,
I mean, we
may
can
I,
do more.
may I propose that we move on? Randolph and Grace Knight have to make a decision. Have you made a decision to take no action?
No, I
this.
move that we
So-
withdraw this application as a violation of open meeting law. It should have never been brought forward in the 45-day, it was not brought forward as an approved decision in that 45-day period. And there are no conditions to this development because we didn't get it to you in 45
Okay,
days.
let's move on. Is there a second?
So the
Okay.
motion fails. Ryan, could you please tell us what, in terms of process, what our options are now for this application?
Yeah, so the board could take no action or in effect deny the request to reconsider. They could approve the request to reconsider, and that would look like warning a new hearing to reopen this application, or technically to reopen that hearing that happened under this application number. A hearing would be warned, it would be held, it would be closed, a deliberation could happen, and then a new 30-day appeal period would take place. If the board wanted to reopen that hearing, they have the ability to refine the language to make it more clear what was intended. They have the ability to remove the conditions or the conclusion as is the request. They can take in new evidence provided by our attorney, by their attorney, whoever wants to feed into that.
Can we refine the language now, or do we have to warn him hearing?
I believe that it needs to be through a warned hearing.
Oh,
I don't know much about how this all works, but I would like to make a motion. We do what Grace's lawyer suggests, get this thing moving down the road.
I
Okay,
think that's right, we're just trying to figure out how to do that.
Well, what if
Or
you...
if I make a motion
I'm
to remove those
recused.
two things,
Thank
and
you, Jake.
we get this thing going, I don't see anything wrong with what they're trying to do. And they've been trying to do it for a long time, and it seems like we're complicating it beyond what it needs to be.
Yes.
So my motion, if I'm allowed to make them,
You
is
can.
we remove those two things and approve it.
A second.
Can we have a discussion? Ryan, was that something that the attorney said was an option for
So
us to just
Ethan's
do on the
request
fly?
was to simply reissue the decision, and I asked our attorney, can we simply rewrite and reissue the decision? And I think on principle, his advice was that it cannot simply just, you can't simply just put out a new decision. I think the reasoning, which isn't entirely, isn't really the concern here, is that the notice that goes out to everyone, people who normally would be required to be informed about what's happening with the application wouldn't have the ability to know that something's happening. So that's the reason that a new hearing would get warned. The hearing has been open, closed, and decided upon. And really the statutes and the law about how to reopen or reissue decisions is murky. It's really sort of a few case law situations, but nothing really directs what this process is supposed to look like.
so we have to rewarn a meeting no matter what we do.
That's our attorney's.
Okay.
Or you could just deny the request.
And there were three,
I
the
don't
three,
think I wanna do that.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if you want to stick to your guns, deny the request.
I don't want to deny the request. I want to change the language.
So-
Yeah.
So then,
I
let's,
had a question. The attorney recommends, is that correct?
Mhm.
But it's murky. he's making a recommendation. Is there legal risk to this board by,
Yeah, what if we do something and we're wrong, and, I mean, who's gonna get mad? Grace and Randall?
We want title to our land without restrictions
as
that
proposed
violate the
in
Weathersfield zoning bylaws.
Okay, so we're still in discussion, right?
That's right.
Are we
There's a
still-
motion on the floor,
And it was
and
seconded.
we're talking about it, and I asked if we could do that.
And I'd like to make an amendment to the motion that we strike out whatever you said. I'm not sure I have the right document in front of me. But after the C2, after the first sentence, no development on lot 2 is approved by this decision beyond the creation of the lot. Right?
Hold on,
Ethan is
hold on.
asking for you strike out CL5, conclusion of law 5, and then you strike out C2.
Right.
And then you reissue the decision. That was Ethan McNaughton's request.
I understand. What I would like to propose as amendment is include the first sentence in C2. No development on lot 2 is approved by this decision beyond the creation of the lot. That's a
Mhm.
fact, right?
It is a fact.
And add a sentence, the project proposed through the subdivision application and any future development may require other state, municipal, or federal permits or approvals, and this decision does not constitute review or approval of any other permit or approval not specifically stated herein. That was suggested language from the town attorney.
That was your town attorney suggested
Yeah.
language.
Would you like to read it? Can I share that with you? Am I allowed to do
I'm
that?
not sure you're allowed to.
I think, why don't we just stick
Just
with,
verbal?
let's stick with what you have so far, because we want to be able to keep track of all this. And so then going back to CL5, was there specific language in there for CL5?
He did not. I didn't
You
see-
should simply,
Because we're concluding that it satisfies the applicable standards of 310 through 39. So I'm not sure we would want to, for those criteria that were reviewed. I don't think we want
any
to strike
future
that.
development of Lot 2 requires review by
Oh,
the
the
Development
last
Review
sentence?
Board. No.
So I'm sorry, I was at the beginning.
Okay.
The attorney
CL5.
suggested on that sentence to add may. Future
Any
development
future
may
development
require.
may.
Who decides may? Who's the
The
boss?
I would
current
just-
laws,
I think it
the
would
current
be the
laws. They
bylaws.
could be more difficult 10 years from now. You don't
Yeah,
know.
I think it needs to be deleted, I've said that line before, because there's no requirement now, and
There's no requirement now, so just strike all of it, starting with any future development of Lot 2,
I agree with that.
because it adds nothing but confusion.
Is there any other comment about the proposed amended motion? Any discussion? Do we want to vote on the amendment?
Could you restate it, please?
Yeah,
So
I'll
for,
restate it.
restate it.
I can say I amended to include CL5, but delete the last sentence of CL5, which is any future development of Lot 2 requires review by the Development Review Board under the provisions of the zoning bylaws, subdivision and other applicable regulations that were not evaluated as part of this application, and any regulations required at the time such development is proposed. And, okay, and then.
C2?
And then C2, keep the first sentence, no development in lot 2 is approved by this decision beyond the creation of the lot, and strike out the rest of C2, but put in, are you with me?
Yes,
The project proposed through this subdivision application and any future development may require other state, municipal, or federal permits or approvals that this decision does not constitute review, and this decision does not constitute review or approval of any other permit or approval not specifically stated herein.
Now, C3 also says no change or modification, but that doesn't take into consideration lot line changes are administrative, and this would require even boundary adjustments to be a board hearing.
is that standard language that's in all of them, Ryan?
I think so. Yeah, it's
I
right
don't
out of the
know
bylaws.
about all of them throughout the course of time. Maybe the 5 that the DRB has reviewed that might be in there. But right, that usually that's a statement related to all development, like site plan review and things like that.
Andrew, do you want to amend the current motion in some way, or?
That's just my concern on C3 is that if there's a boundary adjustment, they would have to go through a full hearing because it says no changes or modifications. So I don't know what the wording would be, but I know that could cause a problem if you change a boundary because it's something that you would normally do. I don't know how large of a
It doesn't
land
matter.
for the boundary adjustment. This wouldn't allow that.
Right.
So
I'm just going to stick with what Ethan McNaughton recommended.
but just because of your comment about the neighbors, so you wouldn't be allowed to do a boundary adjustment.
No,
So we can't.
I can't even
Yeah.
contemplate going through this
Right,
again.
right. But that's why I'm saying this would create that requirement where, I don't know what it should say. But if it's already in the bylaws, so that line really is not necessary because you're going to be required, if you want to do a boundary adjustment, you're going to follow the permitting requirements for the boundary adjustment, whatever that may be here and in the future. So I feel like C3 needs to be struck.
I'm just trying to find the bylaws. I think that sentence is lifted from the bylaws. I'm struggling. Ryan can probably find it faster than I can.
What are you looking for?
That sentence C3, I think it's right out of the bylaws, and I'm trying to find it. Let's see, land use. And it's
Section 270 revisions to an approved final plat. Let me just see what this is. So Article 2, subdivision application procedures. So then it goes through sketch plan, preliminary, 250s final plat review, 260s coordination with zoning permits. Section 270.1, no changes, modifications, or other revisions that alter the final subdivision plat or conditions of approval shall be made unless the proposed revisions are first resubmitted to the planning commission as a final subdivision application, and the planning commission approves such revisions after a duly warned public hearing.
But that's before it's actually recorded.
Right, I think the
That's
the
not
intention is to say that when, I don't know about the language here, but in the decision, I think what you're intending to say is the subdivision plat that gets approved here will be the one that gets recorded at the town clerk's office.
Okay.
Don't that says, I think I've read this
So,
so many times.
In the interest of completing the agenda,
Conditions of approval.
could y'all vote?
So Andrew, do you want to propose?
Let me read it again, because I,
Yeah, that's okay. I was going to say, do you want to
let me just,
amend?
maybe not, because that makes more sense.
Yeah, I think it's just referring to the plat.
Before it's finalized, not after.
Right, and that, I mean, that could be clarified in the condition. The other thing I think that this whole discussion has pointed out are things that need clarification in the regulations themselves, so I would certainly not say that they're without fault.
So can we put, alter the final subdivision plat prior to recording? That's not the right wording too. Because that's what we're talking about, just that alter the final subdivision plat prior to, how does it say the recording wording prior to?
No, it doesn't say it in the regulation.
But that's the
I'm just-
section that it's talking about, is prior to being recorded, not forevermore.
That's not clearly stated in the regulation. This just
This
says
is-
revisions to an approved plat, no changes, modifications, other revisions that alter the final subdivision plat or conditions of approval shall be made unless the proposed revisions are first resubmitted to the planning commission as a final subdivision application and the planning commission approves such revisions after a duly warned public hearing. So I see the same conflict that you're,
Yeah, because 272 says that alter the boundary adjustment first resubmitted to the land use administrator.
so I think this is saying if you're going through a boundary line adjustment,
That it just goes to you, but
and they want to do
being
it
that this
again.
is a condition in this decision makes it sound like you can do nothing to the boundaries without, which is something different.
I would say that the condition that's in there that contemplates perpetuity mirrors the regulation more closely, and it depends on what the board intends, and you can word it as such.
Well, and it says as a final application, so if you're and I think if we just put in parentheses at the end 270-1, so we know where the wording came from, so we can reference that it's not a specific independent condition, it's just basing it off of the actual wording from the bylaws. I would just appreciate that, so there's not additional,
We would put a comma and then
and just
comma per
270.
270.1.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have an amendment, and an amendment. Do we need, can we vote once on all of that at the same time? Or do we need to do
We need
1,
an
2, 3?
amendment. We need amendment on, or a second on
On the
motion.
proposed
The
language?
second proposed. Did we have a second on her
We had
amendment?
I
Because
think
I'll
we had a
second
second
that.
on mine.
Yeah, I'll second that amendment.
Okay,
And then we
And
jumped
this-
into my
you
amendment
wanna
to add
give an
page
amendment?
per 270, that C3 adds per 270.1.
I'll second that. Okay, so then we could, now can we take a vote on all the language as amended?
Sure.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, so Jacob, you wanna shoot again, or can I summarize?
Um,
Your motion is to,
my original.
tonight,
Let's not even summarize.
Yeah,
I think you just vote on it.
It's straight, I think we have it all
I
written
think we
down.
got it.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Aye.
All those in favor?
I,
I,
I'm going nay. I'm going with my original motion. So
well, this improves your
Wait,
motion by taking away the further regulations.
okay.
I think maybe it would be
I didn't
better in that
understand.
case to deal with each amendment individually then.
Okay,
So, a vote on Andrea's amendment to add,
Just
Per
per 270.1 on C3.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'm sorry, Mike.
I,
I'm still lost, guys. I don't. I'm
So on C3 here, I
C3.
actually
Yeah.
wrote it down
got
here.
it. C3.
I just want it referenced that that is part of the policy, that it's not a new
Okay.
limitation, so that it takes it in context. So they're not requiring like boundary adjustments or anything to go through the board.
That's C3. Okay.
So I want that reference. And then everything here is going to be lined out,
Right.
only the first sentence. And then we have to vote on C. Did we already vote on mine?
We voted on yours, yours passed,
And then,
So-
except we were waiting for
Yeah.
Jacob to,
And it
yes.
doesn't have to be unanimous.
no it doesn't, but did
Yeah.
you have a vote on that adding 270.1?
I think that's cool.
Okay, so
okay,
that's unanimous.
And then you wanted to remove all of C2, and then Beth amended that
Mhm.
to just leaving line 1, and then basically adding the wording that we're not approving anything else, and that this land will still be subject to whatever permitting might
Right,
be
the normal
effective
process.
right now.
Yes.
And
Okay.
then on here, we were deleting this
A bunch of it
last
there, yeah.
sentence, the last sentence that's a requirement, right? The last sentence that's a requirement
yeah.
after
Do you want to look at my red line?
I've got it. I've got it.
the any future development line, it's those last 3 lines.
Mhm.
And then that was it, right?
So then let's vote on the amended language then for Andrea's, that was to amend the language of CL5 and C2. All
Um,
those in favor?
Oh,
I'm
that's
confused, it
Beth's.
was my
That's,
amendment.
yeah, that's amendment.
It was mine.
Mine was already done.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm voting on the
Yeah.
right thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're-
On your amendment,
We modified the language of CL5 and C2.
Right,
yes.
okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Michael?
aye.
I,
Okay. And then what would be Jacob's, sort of the spirit that started it all would be to do it tonight?
Well, that's already part of the motion too.
So we
Okay.
just approved the 2 amendments to the motion, so there's
Yeah.
one more motion on the floor, that is the original.
Well, no, she amended that motion.
Right, so we approved that amendment.
so now it's the
Right, so
motion
it's-
as
The original-
amended and amended.
Yes, so we already voted on both of those,
But we haven't voted on the original motion.
because it was amended.
It was amended, but
Okay.
then there were 2 amendments, so they split them.
Yeah, we split them, we actually did,
I think
Okay,
they're
so I
good.
think we've approved all the amendments,
Yes,
and therefore
yes.
there is one motion that remains.
Yes.
Yes. Which is the motion to.
Do that tonight.
To make these
Do
amendments to
something.
the decision.
gotcha.
We did it in reverse order.
No!
No, it's fine.
That was perfect.
No, we're not done yet.
I know, but yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there needs to be a vote. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
All those in favor of proceeding with Jacob's motion to do this tonight
As amended.
as amended?
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And are there any other discussion about this item on the agenda?
No, we just hope, so we're just gonna assume we did it legally and, right? You think Ethan will be happy with us doing it even though we're not sure we're supposed to do it
Can't
this way?
speak for him, but I believe.
Okay, well,
No, I can't.
well,
speak.
let us know Then we'll have to warn it and go the other route. Right? Is that right, Ryan? If we did it wrong, then we'll have to warn it and.
I think the only way that it would have to be contested. I don't think that there's anyone who could clearly say this was not process. And if someone appealed the board's decision to do this, that would go to the court and be decided there.
Right.
It wouldn't be that simple.
Okay, so it should work.
But I think the key is that there were no other interested parties on this decision that needed to be notified about the amendments that were just made.
So I'm just going to ask for clarification. We're on a very tight deadline, and we have to do something by, I think, September 2nd. So when will this all be written up to show to Ethan?
I think I can write this up tomorrow, and then you'll need a signature on it
You're a good man.
from the chair. I guess I can write it up tomorrow and circulate it directly to everyone, and then everyone will have to approve it as it's written.
Well, I
Right.
don't think we have to because it's recorded and you're just documenting exactly what she said.
Yeah, this is,
That's
this,
all-
it
that's all
doesn't need to go to everybody again.
Okay, so it's all set. You just need a signature from the chair.
Yeah.
Could you send it to me and make sure the wording was right? You know, I'm a little weird that way.
I thought you were gonna send him the wording, so that
I'll give you a
He has
call.
it.
I'll
It's
give you a
it.
call tomorrow.
free donuts, free coffee.
Yes. Anyway, Grace, we will get this to you before the end of the week.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for your patience.
Well, it's been a learning experience.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a challenge.
And I see the Whittemores are still on.
Yeah, I don't know why they're on. They're not on the agenda.
Are we ready for item 6, rules of procedure?
I think so. Do people have the energy for that, or do we
Yes,
want to?
I have a proposed rule of procedure.
Okay.
A proposed change.
Let's go on, let's move on to that and get out the rules of procedure.
Thank you. So I have something for thought and to add to an agenda in the future, hopefully soon in the future. And here are my thoughts. We all are well-intentioned people, and all of us have to get up at some time tomorrow morning, and some of us have to get up early. And we all put a lot of time into this, and we all get very tired. My proposal is that we only have a start time, which is 6:30 for these meetings. I propose that these meetings be posted to be 2-hour meetings with an end time of 8:30. And that if any development review board meeting extends beyond 8:30, that will only be if a 15-minute extension is moved, seconded, and voted, and we can keep extending by 15-minute increments. I also propose that we keep time for the start of any hearing that we are reviewing within a DRB meeting, and from the time that that hearing begins on an application or a subdivision, the hearing must conclude within 60 minutes, 1 hour, and if it does not conclude within that hour, it can only be extended by 15-minute increments if moved, seconded, and voted. We put in too much time and effort and care. We have a very small town where there are only 1 or 2 applications per meeting. There are towns where they have to get through 6 or 7 applications in 1 2-hour meeting. And we have got to simply be able to do that. Because
Would the 60 minutes that you're suggesting, would that be, and if we don't vote for 15 minutes extensions, then would it continue, or you're saying that's it?
It would have to be continued.
And I'd add that I would only do one 15-minute extension because it should be continued, because if you have someone else waiting, it's just unfair to them to have to keep
I
waiting,
think-
because if the application's not ready, then we need to continue and move on because somebody's waiting and they're prepared.
Well, I could go for multiple, because often we only have one
Yeah,
that we're hearing.
or to say if somebody's waiting, that we cap it at, and then they need to come.
Can we compromise at 2 15-minute extensions if somebody's waiting for their own hearing to begin? Because we all care very deeply,
Yes.
but we have to be able to get through them. So I'm not making a motion, I'm not asking for a second, but I'm floating the idea, and I'm hoping that it can go on an agenda for the next meeting or a meeting very soon.
Well, we can debate that. Why don't we take a stab at putting that in the rules of procedure, just based on what you said? Because we're talking about rules of procedure, so we have those two items. We have a hearing section, and we can just bake that into the draft we're working on.
Okay.
I don't think we need a motion. We're talking about rules of procedure.
Okay. Unless anyone objects to it, I mean.
I already seconded,
So we have a motion, we seconded
so.
it?
She didn't,
Do you want me to make it?
No, we don't need a motion, we're just talking about changing stuff, and
Yeah.
we'll have a draft that we'll talk about
Yes,
later.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause-
The input.
You know, we could come upon one where we have 4 in one night, and even if we only have 1 in one night, we should be done at 7:30, not 8:30.
But I really like the idea of capping it at 8:30.
And then in section 4, I just want to clear up the development review board. This old one says it still says it consists of 5 to 9 regular members.
Mhm.
Can we just update that to 5?
I'm sorry, your section 4,
4 regular officers,
which letter?
first sentence.
Before
Mine
the
says
letters.
3 to 9.
Okay, so yours is super old.
It's the one on the website.
We had taken this up in beginning, end of 24, 25, right before Michael joined us. We'd taken it up, we'd made some changes. So we have this early 2025.
I'm going by what's on the website, I'm sorry.
Okay.
What I'm looking at is from 26.
The website's outdated.
Thank you, Jane.
I'm just looking at whatever.
So,
Okay, so but let's clarify in any case
Okay.
that it's 5 members.
I just can't read along with you. Yeah,
They're pretty much the same,
okay.
okay?
Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
the one I'm looking at on the website stated April 20th, 26.
There's 2 versions on the website, maybe. Also would not surprise me.
Okay, no, it happens.
Mine doesn't have a date.
I think that date that you have there, if you look at that document and you get to the bottom, it's a 2022 document. It's just the way it was saved.
Yeah, it's 22
It's,
at
yeah.
the bottom,
So
the
that's,
signature, yeah.
so that's like a naming thing, how
Yeah.
that 2026 date shows up, because we
Yeah,
never,
you're right.
Willis Wood wasn't on the board in April of 2026.
Mine's signed 2020, no, that's the other. This one's signed 2025.
But under section 4, it says, consists of 3 to 9 regular members.
And apparently it's supposed to be 5 to 9.
So that's the old one. The current one says 5 to 9, and the proposal is just to make it 5 as our DRB resolution says.
Okay, I agree.
I'm using the agenda packet, so whatever's in it.
The website's a bear. I'm constantly finding old zoning permit applications.
If we
They're-
make it through the whole night tonight, I want to make sure Michael Cohen's name gets added.
To the rule.
Yeah, we should have everybody should be able to sign this.
Mhm.
Todd, Grace, Beth, Andrea, Michael. I guess Jacob, if you want to, you certainly can sign it too. So we'll add Jacob as an alternate,
And Jason.
Jason. That's a good idea.
Okay.
Does anybody have anything else they want to get in here?
Number 6 is where you're gonna put the cutoff time, right? For the regular meetings, we're doing regular meetings at 3:32, right, having 2 hours.
Yeah.
Is that what- yeah. So
Yeah,
that'd be
all
number 6.
all meetings of the DRB, hearings and regular meetings
So
should
that'd be number
be
6.
capped at 2 hours, 6:30 start and 8:30 end.
Mhm.
And any extension should be by 15-minute increments, moved, seconded, and voted.
So page 4 on the bottom, item 6.
Can I get clarification, so we could keep extending it?
Now, Andrea proposed that it be limited to 2 extensions if someone is waiting
Yeah.
for a hearing. Like if we have 2 or 3 hearings, we shouldn't extend.
Because we have to go an hour and a half, they may not be ready to.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around, I'm just worried about the applicant who is like 90% there and we go, nope, time's up, you gotta come back. I'm just worried about that.
Well, we have to be more efficient. I mean,
Well-
that's,
That's true, but making rules isn't gonna make us more efficient.
But
Then-
remember we were going to make your list? Remember we talked about that last time? Sorry, I'm pointing.
Oh,
But
list.
the list of all the what's in the packet,
Mm-hmm.
and we were
And at
just
the
going
beginning,
to
instead of reading through each
presumptive.
thing.
Yeah, so we were going to presumptive, everybody's looked at this packet prior, so we don't have to break it down, because then it's, what do you want to say about your application to review, and then do we have any questions? And then it moves along pretty quickly.
Actually,
So-
I don't remember.
Yeah, Phil
That was
sent
like
it.
two- that was
Maybe
like
I was
2
in
years ago, how many, 2 or 3 meetings? Oh, that
I
was-
don't remember. I remember
that was
this
like
this
3
general
meetings ago.
discussion, but
We had talked
I need to-
about,
I think I was in here.
the printout, remember, 'cause we wanted it on a light background, not a dark one, so we could print out the list that Ryan does of all of the applicant.
Oh,
What's
yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah,
packet.
yeah, yeah.
And then we
yeah,
said
which we
that,
can't because it's this green
Right,
thing
'cause
that
we-
kills all the ink in my
Yeah.
printer.
yep, so I don't.
So I can never print it.
the packets are now all white.
Yes.
I still have the agenda items as green because I assume you won't print the whole pack. You can print the hearing packet, but
But the thought being, like, we review the packet, we enter all the exhibits, this is for
Right,
hearing,
Right,
and then we say, okay, we've got everything, we're not gonna review.
We don't even have to enter the exhibits. We can say, minute taker, enter the exhibits as they appear in the packet. We don't have to read out all those endless
we did that. like 2
exhibits. We
years ago.
really don't. It takes like
We did
10
that
minutes.
2 hearings ago, where we just said, we're submitting the, do you remember that?
Well, when we
submitted
did-
like the
Hey,
page.
can I reel back a
Yes,
little
ma'am.
bit, Andrea, and I hate to interrupt you, but I'm hoping to get a reconciliation. I'm hearing that Beth made a very reasonable point, that someone's worked very hard on their application and they might need a 3rd or 4th 15-minute extension.
I worry
So
about
are
that.
Yeah.
we willing to just say it's moved, it's seconded, it's voted in 15-minute
For sure.
increments?
For sure.
But not
For sure.
cap,
Yeah.
not cap the number, because if someone is like almost there
Mhm.
and they traveled to come to this hearing, we can give them the extra.
For sure,
15
for
and
sure.
Just,
Yeah, I wouldn't kick
Finish
out
it.
anybody, so they can
I
come
think
back
we
in a
should have a
month.
goal and
Yes.
try to, yeah.
But I think that's what slows down our meetings, just in general, is, but if we're submitting that, we just are like, yes, we have all these things. And I think we even added 1 or 2 items on that 2 hearings ago.
I think we might be thinking of the amendment to the dam removal when we basically accepted all of the ones from before.
And we just said these
Yeah.
are all correct, and we added
and all
the
we have to
additional.
do is say, enter into the minutes all the
Exhibits in the packet.
exhibits in the packet. We don't have to.
And then ask for
read
new
them out.
exhibits
Yeah,
if there's any others. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
We don't need to
and
read through it.
and
try
then
to
they
make it
can
quick.
start doing their presentation, or usually you first, and then,
Mhm.
and then we're already at the,
Well, we can continue to work on shortening the procedural things that aren't necessary as we go along.
And, you know, I hate to say it because I'm as guilty as the next person, we should all really try to read through the packet before we come to the meeting. Us people.
Yeah, I do.
So that's gonna go somewhere in the meeting section, somewhere around item F. Right? In meetings, like it's gonna be 2 hours, ending at 8:30, extending in 15 minutes increments. We'll put that somewhere in the meeting section. And then
Public hearings, order
in
of
the-
business.
in the public hearings, we have the second one, which is the, somewhere in there we want to bake in the second item, which is, the hearings will be 60 minutes
Mhm.
with 15-minute extensions that are voted and approved.
Yes.
So,
And you'll cross out like the ones that aren't relevant, like letter I, notice of hearings on the adoption amendment or repeal of the bylaw, because we don't do that.
where are you?
Letter I,
In
That's-
section 7?
6.
6. Notice,
Notice. See, we don't do that part, that's
Yeah.
planning commission.
the notice for the hearings?
Well, no, it says on the adoption amendment or repeal of the bylaw and other regulatory tools. But that's, planning commission does that, we don't do that. Is that?
I
is that
agree, I'm
this?
confused as to why that's in there in the
Yeah.
first place. But yeah, I think that makes sense.
But it's not talking about this,
Repeal
right?
of the bylaws, which we don't do, and other regulatory tools, but we don't even amend regulatory tools, right?
No,
We have no power.
no.
Also, that statement doesn't make sense in this list of things.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's just some kind of weird
Leftover.
thing that just got like an accident, like a typo or something. I don't know. Yes, we can get rid of that.
So when it says at the, H says at the end of each meeting, there'll be a period reserved for public comment. Did you want to leave that at the end, or is that, because we're doing it now in the front, at the beginning of the meeting? Is that just a standard H?
I think that because that's that's in the hearing section.
Is that-
Basically, even
Oh, this is regular and special meeting, section 6.
letter H.
Yeah, page 5.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. I've seen that before. Basically, the statute says that even if you're not sworn in or an interested party, you're supposed to be afforded the ability to say something during the hearing, and that it would usually come at the end.
During a meeting.
This is for a meeting.
Well, I understand that
Yeah.
this is talking about meetings. What I'm saying is what I've seen in statute is for hearings, even if you're not an interested party or even sworn in, you're supposed to still be given the opportunity to speak during a hearing.
And I do that.
Right. So I'm just wondering if that's why this says at the end, because this was taken from the hearings statute and was just placed in this meeting thing. So the
I-
suggestion was because we let people make comments at the beginning, we could make that at the beginning. But I think the intention of this statement was probably for the hearing, per the statute that requires it, and we could add that into the hearing section as well.
You can put the chairperson may amend, extend, or reduce this time so that you can put it at the front or the back of the meeting. See what I mean? You can still leave it in there, but the chairperson, wow, I'm getting tired. Is that
Like
starting to look good?
during the meeting,
So you may
There shall be-
extend. See what the second sentence says, the chairperson may extend or reduce this period of time as necessary.
yeah,
You could put the, may amend, extend, or reduce this period of time as necessary. So you would decide whether it's before or after the meeting. It doesn't have to be necessarily at the end, because that just gives any chair from perpetuity to choose, because it may be
Yeah.
later on they decide to put it at the end.
could we?
We could just delete the end at
Or-
each meeting.
I think, yeah, during
Yes,
the,
take
during
that
the
word out.
meeting,
What he said, take that word out.
during, yeah.
So back, are you done with that?
Yeah,
Yes.
Back to 6J, is that gone now, about facial coverings?
that's gone.
Okay.
6J?
That
It's
was
gone.
That was in the old
It was
version.
for COVID. Facial. COVID's gone.
J? I don't like J.
do you, or not Grace, Beth, do you want to go to the meeting packet, which is on the website, which has our current one?
Meeting packet.
Yeah, if you go to agendas, it's really just, it's under agenda.
Okay.
DRB
thank you.
agenda, and that'll be the packet.
Get there a bit.
So for the time, sort of presumptive time limit for the public hearing, do we want to get that towards the beginning here?
Mhm.
Like review order of events and then maybe like B2 or between B and
It
C.
should be regular meetings as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
we did.
Yeah.
We did that. Oh, regular meetings 1 hour? Or two?
No, two.
Okay,
Okay, regular meetings, 8:30 end,
Yep.
hearings, 1 hour, both with a 15-minute extension provision.
So within a meeting, if we have 2 hearings, they each should be capped at an hour unless we vote
Extend.
extending.
Okay. Okay, so the other thing that would be helpful for me, and again, Andrea, I'm sorry if that last decision didn't work for you. What I want to do is clear it up, like, what do you want the chair to do? Because it's not uncommon for a board member to be absent for a hearing. And we sort of have language that says if you're absent, you can, as long as you come to the second hearing, you can still participate, as long as you can ask questions. For the times where we're having decisions, what should we do when a board member hasn't provided a specific vote? If you're absent from the in-person deliberative session, should we still try and bring that board member in by having them review the
Well,
decision?
it said that you can review the minutes or the video recording and still, if you missed part of the, does it not say that?
Yeah, it does. You have to come, it says you have to come to the second, the last hearing.
So I would just say that, just to remember the open meeting, you just have to have a majority vote, and we just didn't have that. So that's just the important thing. We have to have the email that confirms that 3 people are actually voting for that final decision, because we don't need it unanimous. We just needed 3 people to send in there.
And so, but what do we do
Final.
when we're out of time and people don't answer? What, do we just let?
Well, then we're not,
Then
then
You
missed
haven't
your
voted
deadline.
and you missed your deadline,
That's just
period.
reason that-
So there's 2 parts. One is
But wait,
if,
let me finish. So if one person decides not to answer, then,
no, as long as there was still a majority vote, then that person just didn't get their vote in, and
Yeah.
that's one thing. But if there wasn't a majority vote, then the decision was not didn't
Right,
meet the 45-day
it didn't
deadline.
meet- It didn't get a majority consent. So we needed 3 votes that were submitted that clearly indicated that this document that we completed.
I don't know, I thought we had the vote.
It was my interpretation that we had 4. So
It
that
was
was just,
mine too, I
that
have to
was
say.
just, maybe the emails didn't convey that adequately, and we'll try and fix that from here on out.
One thing that might be clarified is if you gave a deadline for I want the vote by here, maybe that's sort of an informal thing to say we want the votes in, but as long as all the votes came in before the decision was issued,
Right.
then it's fine. So that's sort of the rules of procedure aspect, is to say if the procedure is even if it's after the board said we need the vote, as long as it's before the 45-day deadline, it
No,
gets in there.
that would mean the vote failed, because if you have a cutoff time,
But it depends on what the rules of procedure say.
right, but then that's kind of like ballots being turned in 3 weeks after election day. I
But
mean,
if the
where
rules
is
said
it?
that that's
Yeah,
okay, then that's
right.
what the rules say. So I'm just saying, you're
So-
creating your own rules.
Sure, but we have to have a cutoff. If there's not going to be a cutoff, then
That's the 45,
everybody
but
can
that's the
agree,
45
and
day.
then I could vote no or what have you 2 weeks later, and you're ready to go send it off. So there always has to be a deadline. But then again, the point is you just need to have a majority vote, so it's really irrelevant. We're not waiting for one person.
Yeah.
Because we're a body of 5.
Right.
So once you have those 3 affirmative votes, you're all set. But you have to have here's the motion, this is the final document, this is what we're approving, and you have, until tomorrow at whatever time to approve or affirmatively vote for that decision, and then that's where that countdown starts. Because it has to be a clear, it can't be before the document was drafted, and then there's corrections or what about this and what about that? That means there was a question.
Right.
So then you still have to vote to say, yes, I agree with all the changes that were made. So if there's not an agreement that everyone's voting for those final documents, then it's not approved. But we only need 3. We just didn't have that.
I think
I would-
that's clumsy in practice, because what happens is someone will say, I'm in favor of the decision, but I want to change this word.
Well, then
Someone-
everybody's
and
got to
the-
approve that.
What's that?
But then everybody's got to be.
And then that email chain goes out, then I have to, I can't write another revised decision every time someone says, I'm in favor of it, but I want to change this, and there's just no way for
Well,
me
that's
to.
why it's nice that you have a final motion and you're the chair, and you say, okay, document's done, everybody's submitted their revisions, and you have 24 hours to vote on it. It's just like if we were here in person, you don't need a second, but now you've called the question, so you need votes. And if someone's like, well, I want to make a change, well, no, it's too late. We've already called the question, so it's a yes or no at this point. They're welcome to vote no, or, and if you have 3 people that vote yes, then boom, you're done. And
Okay,
that's just, that's the.
so I
Robert's
should
rule.
sort of change the
call the
way I
question.
say,
Yeah.
instead of just saying, all right, everybody, tell me, just,
Just say call the question, do you
Yes.
approve or disapprove, and it's fine to disapprove.
okay.
Yeah, once you're ready, the document is.
Yes or no?
Good, then you're done, and you're just calling the question.
Okay, so in our rules of procedure, we don't have anything that deals with
So
absence.
just before we move on, how close are we to being able to put these documents on SharePoint where we can make our edits, and once everybody's made their edits and they can see everybody else's, then we call the question. Everybody good with this?
Thank-
Accept all
yes,
changes and we're done.
And I'm longing to have you lead a workshop where you teach us how to use SharePoint so it can become.
Does everybody have access?
I've
No,
got access.
Oh, I thought didn't we try a different email we got through?
I never got an invite.
Oh, I thought we confirmed that we did.
No,
Because we tried an alternative email.
Because
Yeah.
I would love to use that platform and
Yeah,
have
I
it be
mean, that
consistent.
will make all this back and forth
Yeah, it makes it.
so much easier.
Thank you, Michael.
So as soon as everybody has access, tell
I
me
have
when
serious problems.
and we'll do it.
I was able to log in.
Because
I don't
I
think
was
we're gonna
able
make
to
it
log in
easier.
and sign up for
I
it.
see 2 issues with this board. And I don't care if I'm recording or not, there's, people don't agree on what was decided during deliberation. And that's a huge issue. And I think when we deliberate, we have to write the document, because I am done with this 11th hour, no, I remember it this way, I just don't have time for that. And I can't imagine what Todd goes through, he's actually writing these things. And this 11th hour stuff, no. And it's just not working for
I
me.
agree, it's too hard. We had done for a few times, we had the draft, you remember, we were at Todd's house, and everybody had the computer, or was it at your house? Everybody had the computer
Yeah.
in front of us, and we
Yeah.
were able to just go
There's
line and go
too
yes,
much
no, and then we
disagreement.
were done.
And we're also, we deliberate, and then literally 44 days later, we're trying to remember what we decided. It's not working for me. I don't know how other people.
The chat,
It's
I
a
like
very
the,
valid point.
Yeah.
I like the idea of having it written ahead of time. What that requires, though, is it requires that, when we've been able to do that, it requires that initial deliberation where we say, what's your vote? What do you think? And everyone says, I vote in favor. Then we can get that draft cooking later. What ends up happening is, though, we don't do that. So Ryan can't even start a draft because he can't draft something if he doesn't know what the
So
answer
you
is.
mean deliberate immediately after the hearing?
At least with a preliminary,
The
like,
preliminary.
Which we would be able to do if we limited the meetings. Now, I see somebody who is actually the other occupant of the loan vehicle that we brought here, and it is 9:18.
yeah.
So I am going to say that if we actually keep every hearing to an hour, we will not be too tired to deliberate.
I think you're right.
Could I
Can-
make one comment?
Sure.
You, a little bit ago, said you need a goal for these meetings. And
said
I
that.
like the idea of, you did. And when you add two 15-minute sections, and I may have watched too much World Cup, but you should have the goal over there and get the soccer ball out, and then have Jacob kick it, because I used to coach him.
Why don't you?
Can we have a hydration
Wait,
break? in the
I want to
middle?
see a picture. I want to see the soccer picture.
I had a better idea. We get a big gong, and you stand out there in a toga, and you.
Yes.
And you
Can we have a halftime show?
All right.
I take it we're nearing the end of our
Yes.
session.
I
Yes.
Can we,
I'm
please?
exhausted.
Starting to get frivolous.
The board's
So-
getting
so-
a little tired.
All I was going to do is, if we don't say in our rules what happens when someone's absent. So I think that's just, I just want to clarify that. If you don't vote by the deadline, then we take, you're
It
going to
does
get
say
marked
in
as
the rules
absent.
that abstentions are strongly discouraged.
Yeah, but abstaining is an intentional, willful act.
Yeah.
Being absent, we don't have anything in here that tells the chair what to do when somebody just doesn't vote or doesn't come to the meeting, whatever. So I just want to have something there, and if we could figure that out next meeting, that would be fine. So if we're moving on, then do we want Ryan to give us an update, or do we want to wait?
2-minute update.
Planning Commission's talking about the steep slopes and childcare, and that's what they're focused on. You asked about the town in general.
Do we have a manager, or what?
There's no manager and there's no, I don't think job position posted at this point. I think the select board, they just appointed 2 new members last night. And as far as I understand, there's the beginnings of a search for a town manager, but as far as I know, there hasn't been anything posted. No one has applied. That's where that sits.
Okay.
Is that it?
That's it.
Woo!
Future agenda items. It looks like we're gonna continue with rules of procedure. We're gonna have, we want to, we were going to have it on the agenda, but we didn't have time for subdivision review procedure improvements. If we can get that on there.
I think that should follow the regional commission's.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We need to hear
Presentation.
from the regional.
So I've reached out, Jason Rasmussen, who's the executive director, being on the board and a member of the town, suggested someone else from the regional commission who would do the presentation, Allison Hopkins, who said she would be willing to. It sounds like her schedule might be the limiting factor, and I'm wondering if the board would want to meet at on the same day, a regular meeting day, but at 5 o'clock or something like that. to accommodate her schedule, or perhaps she'll have a day that works at 6:30. But it sounded like she has evening obligations most of the time. So
If it's training, do we have to be an open meeting? Because I thought the training we didn't have to be.
yeah, I
because you're
suppose
not
no, you don't.
doing an active meeting, so we could possibly Zoom all together like at a
Mhm.
other time.
Okay.
I'm open to Zoom.
I'm open to a 5 PM. Is everyone okay with a 5
Oh,
PM?
yeah,
Yes.
that works really nice.
Depends on the day.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if everyone's open to a 5 PM, could you try?
Yeah, and I was thinking our regular meeting days are just a day that we generally
Yes,
sort of are
yes.
expecting it.
Mhm.
So.
So if you could try to set her up for a 5 PM.
So on the agenda, the next agenda will be the rules of procedure and subdivision review procedure improvements. And in the meantime, we'll be pursuing the RPC training session. That doesn't have to be on the agenda because we probably won't hit that for a meeting.
But I would also ask that with these subdivisions, that we have the planning commission chime in, because we really need to have some clarification and amendment based on what is a major and minor subdivision and what the land use administrator should be able to easily.
Because it is
It's-
allowed if the town votes
That's
it,
right.
that the land use administrator issue a permit for a simple subdivision, which is a division of land that meets all the zoning requirements for that,
And
section of town into 2 or 3 parcels.
and some are doing 5 and some are doing up to 10. So each town is, so I think
But
there's
I-
like a separate.
I think every single one of these 5 that we've poured all this energy into has been dividing one parcel into 2 parcels.
Yes.
And so if we could say that is a simple subdivision and give it to the zoning administrator and let him protect Weathersfield,
And so,
I would be in favor of
Because
that.
then it just rolls over into the
Because
standard
this
policy.
is a guy who's in a position of authority and it's actually his job
Mhm.
to know this stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
it's on the planning commission's list of things to review. I asked, and it sounded like some people were going to be here tonight. Didn't end up happening, but they're aware of the. I mean, it's almost every bylaw that needs attention. But yeah,
It can be
This one's-
effective,
yeah.
if it can be really effective too, is we know a lot of the things that should be changed.
Mhm.
It's effective if we say, here are the things that we think that you should do, and then bring that to the planning commission.
Yeah.
That might
Yeah.
be more helpful for them rather than bring them in and, I mean, they've
Because-
been doing subdivisions long before we did, and we inherited what seemed to me to be a bunch of problems.
We did.
Yeah.
Okay,
And so if we could cut through it, the way that I see to cut through it is to say a simple subdivision meets all the
Yeah.
restrictions of that zone of town and is dividing one parcel of land into 2 or 3 parcels of land, period. And that simple subdivision can be handled by the zoning administrator as a permitted process.
When is our next meeting?
the
The
next scheduled.
4th Tuesday.
The 8th?
No, the
so it'd be the
second
8th and the
Tuesday.
22nd
The second Tuesday, the 8th and the 22nd.
of September.
So are we meeting on the 8th or the 22nd or both?
I think we have so much to do that we'll probably meet both. Do we have
Well, is there-
anything in the pipeline
Needs a
for a
change,
hearing?
needs a plan.
I
Here, or the
do.
select board will be here, right? So we'll be upstairs.
Sorry, which
Because it's the day after Labor Day, so we'll be upstairs.
yeah, we usually get kicked out.
I think that's okay too, because we'll just be talking about stuff, we won't have any members of the public probably.
Great.
What?
And you have no
They'll fit.
applications in the pipeline that you're aware of?
There's one that I'm aware of, but they were not in a rush, and they said any time in September or October.
Okay.
Right, you're good.
Okay, so then we're set up for the 8th.
6:30.
Okay, I turn into a pumpkin in 3 minutes. At
Well,
9:30,
that's
I
it.
turn into a pumpkin.
Tolerance is increasing. Last time it was 27 minutes ago.
Uh, I feel like we could adjourn.
Make a
Motion
motion
to-
to adjourn.
I second it.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 I think that would be a good idea. If folks don't mind giving me those back.
Giving you
Did you
five-
say we have 3 minutes